Do you want to be that person who you look up to? That person on television? That person who ain't afraid to show off their flaws? That person who's like the rock star of their social circle? That person who raises their hands at every meeting and speaks up? We all want to be that person. I was in ninth standard when I often told myself that Tanya, you're just not good with numbers. Whenever I think of math, metaphorically, I'd look at it as a gigantic problem. So I went to my dad and I told him that I completely want to quit math. I can't do it. And I quit it. I was in college when I had to message the love of my life. So I picked up the phone and I kept it back. So I picked up the phone and I kept it back. I tried to muster every ounce of my courage, but I just couldn't do it. I could feel the chills in my body when I went for my first job interview. When I came back, I took a breath of relief, but I was still very nervous. When the result came on my email, I opened the email, I looked at the list from top to bottom and from bottom to top. My name, to my surprise, wasn't there. I wasn't confident enough to apply for many days ahead to come. Heart pounding, sweaty palms, dizzy head. This is what lack of self confidence feels like. And let me tell you, it feels like shit. It is that feeling when you feel that you can't accomplish anything in your life. And if I completely reverse this statement, it will feel like you can do almost anything in your life. With anything, I do not mean that you feel that you can become the president of your country tomorrow. With anything, I mean something that's within your reach or something that is completely achievable for you. Ever heard of that phrase that you don't need to be high if you're high on life? Self confidence is like that adrenaline that you get when you're high. Now, before I tell you that how we as a society can be more self confident, let me tell you that what is it that you're missing out on by not being self confident. You're missing out on cracking that interview, that job, that job promotion, starting your own company, finding that partner, trying to meet somebody who you've been dying to meet, and so much more. Self confidence has a very important part to it, which is called the word self, which means that your self confidence depends on you and not others. I repeat, your self confidence depends on you and not on others. I vividly remember my time in school when I had to ask for pocket money. So I'd go to my grandmother and ask her in Hindi that can I borrow some money? I have to go out today. She'd happily take out either 100 or an INR 500 rupee note and give it to me. Then I'd ask her for more money and then I'd get that look and I knew that it was time to shut up and move on. Whenever she'd give me money, I'd take the note happily, I'd fold it twice and put it in my brown sling bag. There were some days when I unexpectedly found money from different places and that became the luckiest day for me. Today, when I manage my own finances, I feel really empowered, and I must confess that there are still some days when I have to borrow or I'm completely broke. However, this is not just about money. This is actually about being able to take care of your own needs and requirements. Let me explain this. Now, for instance, you have to do a project. So what you do is you make a to-do list, you get the job done, and you handle the project by yourself. By the end of it, you've not actually taken help from somebody, but you became your own knight in shining armor without taking help. So self-confidence actually comes from taking care of your own finances as well as your own actions. So don't be dependent, be independent. This is one of the ways in which you can enhance your self-confidence. Along my journey of having worked with Eat My News, I've had the privilege of working with so many young students from across the world. I remember this was about a year ago. It was a mundane afternoon. I was sitting trying to reach out for my smartphone like we do several times in a day. When I clicked on the green WhatsApp icon and I opened my messages, I saw a long message flashing before my eyes. The beginning of that message somewhat read like, thank you. I've got my first job because of Eat My News. It was a long message that was filled with a lot of gratitude. I was really overwhelmed to read that message, especially because I felt that I have been able to add a small value to someone's life, or I have been able to contribute to somebody's career, even if it's been in a small way. The joy of having helped somebody is enormous. In fact, when you're able to help somebody, your own self-worth really increases. This is something that's also backed by science. Now, there are 3 kinds of hormones for ease of understanding. Dopamine stands for motivation and arousal. Serotonin helps you with your memory, sleep, digestion, and learning. And oxytocin helps you with bonding, creating trust, and creating empathy. So whenever you're actually helping somebody, let's say these 3 of them together are called the happiness trifecta. So when you help somebody with things like, for instance, you open the door for somebody, or you help them change their tire, or you lend them your money or your time, then this happiness trifecta is released, which actually creates a lot of inner satisfaction and happiness inside of you. So with that joy of having been able to help somebody, your own self-worth in your eyes internally increases. So one of the important ways in which you can increase your self-confidence is by helping others. Helping others actually helps you yourself. Today I want to share with you one of my favorite stories. This is a story of Stephen Edward King. He was born in a town called Maine in Portland. His father left the family when he was just 2 years old. He was 7 when he found a box full of fantasy horror books of his father, and he had read them all. Once he'd read them all, he himself started writing horror fantasy novels. When he was actually 12 years old, he started writing short articles and submitting them to various magazines. Although he did not get any success, yet he won a competition that was organized by the Scholastic magazine. When his first ever article was published by a magazine, he was 18 years old. Thereafter, he went on to complete his graduation, and after his graduation was over, he took up various part-time jobs to be able to add to his income. However, he did still continue his passion for writing and was now getting published by several popular magazines. Only in 1974, when his first book called Carrie became a huge success when he was 27 years old. If he knew that it would take him 20 years to be able to write a best-selling novel, would he have still continued? What is it that takes people to constantly keep persevering and achieving their goals despite of having not achieved the success that they're looking for? So what is it that keeps people moving forward? Hold on to that thought. Let me explain this. So for instance, if you have to go from a point A to a point B and you don't know how to get there, so what you do is you set up those closer points. Let's say you set up an A1, A2, A3. So once you reached A1, you've reached a particular milestone. So now that you've reached there, you have a sense of victory or achievement, and you're able to move to the other points where you feel that you'd be able to reach point B. And if you keep continuing like this, you would reach your point B. So similarly, these breakthrough moments are really important. And for Stephen, these breakthrough moments came in through winning that essay competition, getting published in magazines, or getting published in several popular magazines. I'm not saying that you have to wait for that long to be able to achieve success. You just have to consciously create those victories for yourself. So create a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a bi-monthly goal, or short-term goals, and achieve them. And when you achieve them, you'll have a sense of victory. And by creating these early wins for yourself, your own self-confidence in yourself is going to increase. So creating early wins for yourself is imperative to be able to achieve self-confidence. To be more self-confident, you have to be independent, you have to be helpful, and you have to create early wins for yourself. I remember being that girl in the beginning who was really underconfident. I remember being that shy, timid, and insecure girl. But I don't remember not trying to change that. Tomorrow, even if you forget these three things that I've just told you, I just want you to remember one thing, that your self confidence depends on you and not others. Your self confidence depends on you and not others. And the moment you decide that you want to be that person, no force, no energy in this universe can stop you from being that person. If I can do it, so can you. If you really like this video, I'd like you to subscribe to this channel for more such videos. Like this video and also share your comments on any tips that perhaps I may have missed out on how you can be more self-confident.